You began by agreeing quite a bit with each other, and then tended, you particularly, Richard, to some disagreement. Before I stoke that disagreement, I'd like to make sure we do agree on three very simple things. That is, that the three of us all believe in truth, namely, that there is such a thing as objective truth, and it's not just an ideological construct to keep the lower classes down, or whatever postmodernists say. Secondly, that we all believe in logic. That is, that we think that if two statements flatly contradict each other, they can't both be true. And thirdly, that we all believe in science, that we think it is one of the greatest of human achievements, and that we all owe the scientists of many generations a great debt of gratitude for the way in which they have improved the world. Is there any dissent to that, or qualification?
No.
Good. Now, can I suggest a line of disagreement, or ask for clarification of what you said? You said that the laws of physics were, of course, never disobeyed by atoms, and I'm sure that's true. You also said the laws of physics have created us. Now, it seems to me that there are two different things there. There's nobody is going to say that the laws of physics are being regularly broken. But that doesn't say that the laws of physics alone determine what happens. In a game of chess, nobody breaks the rules, but the rules of chess do not dictate the game.
That, of course, is absolutely true, and the equivalent of the rules of chess would be natural selection, the process of random variation, random change in the genetic codes, followed by non-random natural selection. And it is the non-random process of natural selection filtering the random input from mutation, which ultimately creates living things. So the laws of physics are being obeyed all the time at the lowest level. And the complexity is the same sort of complexity as when you play chess, when a computer plays chess, when a computer does anything for that matter. I mean, computers are only machines in which electrons are whizzing around obeying the laws of physics. But the layers of complexity on top of that, the layers of software complexity, produce the ability to play chess or do a spreadsheet or whatever it is.
And that's where one of my questions comes in. You spoke about how Darwinian selection offers a complete explanation of how we are here and why we're here. Darwin doesn't seem to me to have very much to say that helps with the problem of consciousness, which both philosophically and scientifically remains an enormous area, which I don't see very much advance in the scientific explanation of. And one of the things which makes me wary of simply saying we have recourse to the laws of physics and that's it, is the question of consciousness. What is it that grounds the first-person perspective, which we are currently sharing in this discussion?
I agree that that is deeply mysterious. As a materialist, I suppose I'm committed to the view that consciousness is something that emerges from brains, within brains. Nobody understands how, and I regard that as one of the problems for the future. And I think it will be solved eventually by a combination of neuroscience and computer science, probably. What I would say is that when one identifies a problem that science has, such as consciousness, and says, we don't yet understand X, and it happens to be consciousness in this case, then we should remain agnostic, as Sir Anthony has said. What we shouldn't do is immediately jump to, I don't understand it, therefore it must have something to do with God. And
I'm not suggesting that we buy in God to get us a cheap get-out-of-jail card on consciousness. But what I am interested in is what it means to say that this is the kind of universe in which consciousness will happen given these coordinates. Because it seems to me that the question is not, is there some point at which God interferes to say, let there be consciousness? The question is, does an entire universe, a system of physical law which produces something not obviously physical, does that require some context of intelligence that is not simply the intelligence of one finite?
I think that's the question we're going to be discussing in our fourth stage, the origin of the universe.
I'll back off.
So, without leaping straight to God,